Have you ever wondered what actually happens inside a courtroom, or what goes on inside the justice world? Sometimes we wait for that moment in trials that brings shocking reactions, seeing how dangerous witnesses' testimonies can go. It's kind of a movie scene where the defendant's case takes a great turn on the witness testimonies, which may devastate his whole case, but many times these scenes may come true and there are situations where witnesses may go rogue. We know that the case is great due to their legal representatives' arguments, but the situations in the courtroom change with the testimonies of the witnesses. Witnesses are the foremost evidence that can be taken up, but at the same time, they might be the most unpredictable shreds of evidence to support or damage a case. Courtroom testimonies are supposed to provide an accurate account of the events that took place. However, some witnesses will go rogue, and their testimonies can become shocking and jaw-dropping. Here are the 5 most remarkable courtroom testimonies. The first instance is Trevor Summers, a highly frightening Florida case. Summer was accused of breaking into his estranged wife Elisa's home and convincing his children to let him enter. Trevor and Elisa were separated and on the verge of divorce. Elisa, in fact, used an injunction against him. In this case, he was accused of sexually assaulting her and kidnapping her. Actually, he held her captive for days and even drove around with her in the car before being captured. So at the trial, Summer decided to forego his attorney and represent himself, which was clearly his constitutional right. When he exercised his constitutional right, he was able to cross-examine the crucial witness, the case's surviving victim, his ex-wife. When asked about it, the primary witness for the government, Summer's ex-wife, claimed that she was raped by him and that he tried to kill her by suffocating her with a pillow. Based on that testimony, the jury convicted Summers on all 11 accounts, including attempted murder, and sentenced him to life in prison. The Daryl Brooks Jr. trial would be our next stop. Mr. Daryl Brooks has been charged with driving a red Ford SUV into a crowd of holiday revelers at the Waukesha Christmas Parade in 2021. This occurred in Wisconsin, resulting in the deaths of 6 individuals and the injury of many more. This trial was expected to be wild, and it was wild because the defendant represented himself, and when defendants do so, they believe they know better than their counsel, but this is frequently proven to be wrong. In this case, Brooks claimed a number of arguments, one of which was that the car experienced mechanical failure and that the driver had no intention of doing it since he was thinking, and so he did not do it. But the problem he faced was that his crime was committed before so many people in daylight that raises too many eyewitnesses to turn this case as he would have in any secret crime. When the witnesses were asked, they testified and confirmed that it was Brooks on the driver's side who hit a group of people, and thus the jury convicted Brooks of all 76 charges, including 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Moving on to some interestingly dangerous witnesses. Sounds contradictory? Actually, many times testimony of witnesses change the shape of any case, but you know that sometimes even witnesses are caught doing the foul play in the court, as happened in this case. In this case, the Zimmerman trial, Rachel Jeantel, the key witness of the prosecution, was caught contradicting her own statement in deposition and during standing court. She claimed that she was on the call with Martin when Martin entered Zimmerman. When she was cross-examined by defense attorneys about why she didn't attend Trayvon's funeral, it was found that she lied because she testified different contentions in her deposition and different in the stand. Similarly, when she was asked about the identification of the voice, she said in her deposition that it could be Trayvon, but later on the stand, her statement showed of how perfectly she knows the voice of Trayvon. These inconsistencies were rightly pointed out by the defense attorneys and showed that she was misguiding the trial. Another instance is Alex Jones. Alex Jones went through 2 trials, one in Texas and one in Connecticut. InfoWars was sued over comments he made claiming the Sandy Brook Elementary School shooting was fake and staged, and when he testified in his first trial in Texas, he took the stand and maintained that he didn't intend to damage anyone. He claims that the shooting was 100% genuine, but after being struck with a nearly $50 million judgment, you have to question if something changed, because later in the Connecticut trial, many felt the true Alex came out, or a different side of Alex was shown. During the cross-examination, Alex lost his patience and burst out in anger when he was questioned by the prosecution. His answers and manners of answers were emotional and enraged to prove his point, a different behavior from this need not to have any prevalent changes in the case from his side. But still, this kind of testimony highlighted his saying and let some people think that he was just acting. Let us conclude with the biggest trial of over a decade, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Johnny Depp sued his ex-wife for defamation after she wrote an op-ed piece for the Washington Post in which she claimed that she was the victim of domestic abuse at the hands of Johnny Depp. Heard ended up countersuing Depp for comments made purportedly on his behalf by Depp's attorney labeling Heard's claims a fake. This turned out to be a very ugly case. During the trial, Heard became extremely emotional whilst taking the stand, recounting the disturbing accounts or disturbing the alleged accounts in which she claimed she was sexually, verbally and physically abused by Johnny Depp. But Depp would get on the stand and say the exact opposite. This continued. One of the other witnesses, Isaac Baruch, a friend of Depp who completely negatived the contention of Heard about physical abuse. His testimony was against Heard. Later, important witness Amber Heard testified, admitting that Depp did not hit back, but rather avoided her, and she hit Johnny Depp. Thus, the jury found her liable for defamation for each of the 3 statements in the op-ed piece, and found her liable to pay Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages, and awarded her $2 million instead of fighting the case for the money. These courtroom testimonies remind us that the truth can be stranger than fiction, and witnesses can have a significant impact on the outcome of a trial. Courtroom testimonies can be both fascinating and shocking, especially when witnesses go rogue. These 5 cases illustrate the unpredictable nature of courtroom proceedings and the importance of being prepared for anything. The testimonies given by these witnesses had a significant impact on their respective cases and served as reminders of the flaws in the justice system. While some of these witnesses faced consequences for their actions, others were able to walk away unscathed. Regardless, their testimonies will go down in history as some of the most jaw-dropping moments in the courtroom. It's a reminder for all involved in the legal system that they must remain vigilant and prepared for any unexpected twists and turns that may occur. Ultimately, the legal system is designed to ensure justice and fairness for all, and it's up to those involved in the process to uphold these ideals. With that, we've come to the end of this video. Do let us know which reaction you find to be the craziest in the comments section below. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.